What's going on, everyone? LeoBlade13 here, bringing you the last deck profile using Rally to War cards. So this is going up a little late, pre-release has happened, but I wanted to show you guys this. This is an updated black, green, blue control deck. I did bring you a deck profile, I think 2 weeks ago, but I have since changed it. Actually went through two variations. First I changed it to a black-blue, but it just wasn't doing what I wanted it to. So I added green back in and just changed everything around. So it's going to be similar to the last deck profile, but with a lot of changes. It's not a hand control deck anymore. So that's probably the biggest change. It's not focusing on making your opponent have no cards. But yeah, I wanted to bring you guys this because I did really like it. It hasn't lost yet. I've also let other people borrow it, and they've always won with it. So it is a really good deck. It has won against aggro and mid-range. I haven't gone up against another control deck, but I think the chances of it winning are pretty good. But yeah, I know this is going to kind of be irrelevant in a few days, but still wanted to bring this to you. And also just some more content for the channel while we are all eagerly awaiting Oath of Blood coming out. So kicking off with the black cards. First up, we have four Crowd Surfer. I think this card is really good, at least right now. It is one of the only black Fort Burst creatures, so it is able to summon itself and just get another body on board. And it also is a 2-drop, so you can summon it early game if you don't see anything else, but chances are you will. Then we've got 2 Cavalier. So this card is just to allow you to cycle back your stuff and get whatever you would need in a possible situation. So it's a pretty good card. I'm typically adding back Play-Doh with it, just to set more ambushes. And then we have 3 Sinister Festering Stringman. I would like to run 4, maybe. 3 seem to be working out fine. But I like it because that way you always have something in your hand, and with its large attack, your opponent never wants to run into it. So I've been using it more as a defender, more than an aggressive card. And then next up, we have 4 Bloody Baroness. So this is pretty much the main card in the deck. This is the card that I always want to see, just because it disrupts your opponent. You get to destroy one of their 4 or less cost creatures, and just using her over time gains you a lot of advantage. So really sets your opponent back and letting you jump ahead. And I think she's the largest after she's Dragocrossed in the deck, sitting at a 7/6, which is really nice, and definitely one of my favorite cards. Then I play 1 Lady Ballista. I haven't actually seen it. I think it gets resourced first turn every time, so I haven't gotten to see how it works in here. And then moving on to the black spells, we've got 4 Death Trap, one of the best black ambushes right now. Probably still will be even after Oath of Blood comes out. And then 2 Death and Decay. This is something I would love to bump up to 3 or 4. This really helps you win against aggro, and even some other mid-range decks. Just being able to wipe out like 3 to 4 creatures at a time is really huge, and it is important to note that it does hit your own creatures as well. So I don't run a lot of 2-cost creatures. As you saw from here, it was pretty much just Crowd Surfer, and then they jumped up to 3s. And I think there are 4 other creatures, totaling 8 more. So we have 12 creatures in this deck that are 2 or less cost. So chances are you won't be hitting your own stuff. And I found even if I am, I'm getting more value out of it than not using it, because my opponent's losing 4-ish creatures and I'm only losing 1 or 2. So this is definitely a really amazing card, and I always want to see it. So definitely going to bump up that number. Then I'm playing 1 Address Disdain. The reason I'm playing this is because Bloody Baroness can only hit 4 cost or less creatures, and typically late game, your opponent is Drago crossing your larger stuff, getting the better abilities. So I put this in to eliminate those larger threats, and then also being able to pop a Drago shield isn't bad. So I went with this over Shield Breaker just for that definite popping a creature. One thing about Shield Breaker though is that it does damage to a creature rather than destroying a Drago crossed one. But for this deck, I think Adra's Disdain was better. And then we got the 4 Litany of Alberts, one of the best spells in the game, at least until Friday. So that's it for the black cards. Now moving on to the blue. Kicking things off, we got the 2 Expedition Merfolk. Just allows you to rest an opponent's creature when it's destroyed. Just stalls a little bit until you can really get your field going. And I was able to get the resource ability off once, but more often than not, I don't use it. Then we got 2 Merchant of Scrolls. This card just allows you to cycle through, kind of find your bigger cards, or any card that you need for a particular situation. However, I haven't been finding it too useful in this deck, so I'd probably cut one of them out for another Death and Decay, or maybe both of them, just to make sure that I am seeing it. But I do like having it in here. I think there was one game where it was coming in really useful. Then we got the 4 Play-Doh. So I forgot to count ambushes before this, but I think we have 12 or 14. We got 4, 2, 4, and 2. So it'll be 6, 12. So we have 12 ambushes. So you're pretty much always getting his effect off, and I do like 4 of him because that way you're always seeing it. Then I've got the 1 Hydra. So this is just another beater in the deck. If I had a second one, I would replace Lady Valistra with it. Just allows you to get another attack off, which is really awesome. And being able to boost all your dice values is pretty good too. Then we've got 4 Rejuvenates. So this is in here mostly for the draw power, but being able to resource and playing your Bloody Baroness early is better as well. So this is one of my favorite cards, and if I'm playing blue-green, that card is definitely going to be in there. Then we got 2 EMP. So just a really great stall card. And that's it for the blue cards. Now we got one of the green ones, which only 10 of them, so by far the least amount. But the only green creature that I play is Fleetwing Sprite, just to allow you to get extra resources. And I'm not too worried about resourcing green, even though somehow I always manage up with like 4 or 5 by the end. But we had the last 6 cards are all ambushes. We have 4 Kingslayer Bee and 2 Nature's Touch. So the green resource doesn't really matter too much for me. I just need the 1 to play the Fleetwing Sprite, because you can pick any other color for the ambushes, and Kingslayer Bee is definitely an amazing card, and Nature's Touch also pairs really well with all the creatures with on-summon abilities, which is mostly just Bloody Baroness, but I actually rarely ever see this card. I think both of them usually end up in the resource zone, somehow. But that's it for the deck profile, so let me know what you guys thought. Do you think black-blue decks are going to be relevant after Oath of Blood, seeing that that yellow spell that destroys all black and blue Drago shields is going to be running around? I know at first I'm probably not going to be running any black and blue colors together simply because of that spell, but since my shop only does best of 1, I think I'm going to have a better time running black-blue than large tournaments or larger shops that actually do best of 3. So we'll see what I end up building. The next deck profile I'd like to bring is probably going to be blue-green X Machines. I haven't decided on what the next color was going to be. And I'd also want to do a red-yellow-green aggro. So We will see what happens. Just depends on what my pulls are going to be. So there will be a box opening on Friday or Saturday. Probably Friday if I can get it uploaded. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of this future content. And as always, thanks for watching.